In this example, we'll use API Wizard for entering orders. As most of you know, the order management process in Oracle EBS is very tedious and convoluted, and it takes a lot of time to enter your orders. In API Wizard, we can do it quickly and easily. What you're looking at here is what's called an API Wizard Loader. An API Wizard Loader is an Excel worksheet that's been configured to perform some type of Oracle EBS process, in this case, order management or orders. This loader has a couple of parts to it. You're able to enter an order header under the light blue columns, and I'll explain those in a little more detail in a moment. And then the order lines under the green section here. You can enter orders with as many lines as needed, up to thousands of order lines per order. You can also enter multiple orders at the same time in this loader. When you're entering an order, you would enter the header information on one row. So you can see here in row 16, we've entered order header information. And then you can have as many lines for that order underneath it. So if you see here, the order header in row 16 has 9 lines, and you can see just the line number and a little bit of information here on the right-hand side in the green, under the green headers. If I scroll further to the right here, then you'll see that we're going to be creating 9 lines. We have an item type of internal, the ordered item, the quantity, unit of measure. If it's not entered, like it's not here, it just defaults. A request date, a selling price. You can choose how you want the price calculated, ship set, so on and so forth. Then here in row 26, we have a second order, and this is a 2-line order here. So we can see here that there's just 2 lines, and if I scroll over to the right here, you'll see that we've also filled out this information. Again, when a field isn't filled out, such as the request date, it just takes the default from Oracle, so that would be in this case the system date. So I don't need to enter fields that have defaults. You tell API Wizard that you want to process the records by putting a Y or a yes in the upload column, and then the word end in the last row for the order. So 16 through 25 makes one order, and 26 through 27 makes a second order. Again, you can have as many orders as you want. You can have thousands of orders in a single loader. You can have thousands of lines in a particular order, whatever you need to enter your data. The other thing here is that when you're entering your data, this is a real-time live data entry system. So it's not just a flat Excel file. This is a live Excel application that can provide information for you in real time, like information from a list of values. So all of these fields that say LOV here at the top means that there's a list of value. So if I double click, so let's say I go to customer name and I want to find a particular customer, I can double click and it opens up this LOV form. And then if I were, for instance, looking for all my customers that start with the letter C, I can run this, and then I get my list here of all of my customers that start with C, and I can pick somebody and return it to the loader. And I can do that for all of these fields, customer number. You can see there's also little helpful hints here. If you hover over the fields, customer name, customer number, build to location, ship to location, order type has an LOV, return reason code has an LOV, price list, shipping method, warehouse. Again, I may not know all of my warehouses, so if I double click here, I can quickly get a list of all of my warehouses, and I can pick the warehouse that I want and return that back to my loader. So again, super convenient way to be able to fill out your information. And that is querying Oracle in real time. So that is a real-time query that is taking place, going out to Oracle real time, pulling that information back. And we have LOVs in the header and LOVs on the line as well. To process the order, I just go ahead and I hit the execute button on the API Wizard toolbar. That's at the top left-hand corner. API Wizard functionality is available in the toolbar. That's the little sign-in form there. I just clicked on this, the login. So I'll just point out that you log in with your Oracle EBS username and password. So the same username that you would use to log into Oracle EBS, that's what you use to log into API Wizard. The toolbar has the most commonly used API Wizard functionality, and then there's also a menu that has everything that's in the toolbar plus some other options. I'm going to use the toolbar option to execute or to load my data into Oracle. To do that, I click on the second icon from the left. It tells me that I'm about to process 12 rows in the EBS DB01 environment. So it's counting the number of records that I have a Y or an N value here in the upload column, and it found 12 rows. And the EBS DB01 is an environment, that's the name of the Oracle instance that I'm connected to. So that might be your prod environment, your dev, test, QA, what have you. I can actually also see that information at the bottom left-hand corner. So right now you see in the little green status bar at the bottom of Excel, it says connected to EBS DB01. That is the instance that I'm connected to. So I know at any time what environment I'm in. Now I'm going to say no here because I want to show you a couple of other things quickly. If I scroll all the way to the right, past the line information, and I can also create orders on hold or put orders on hold through this process. I just want to point out that there's also an output section. And once the process runs, we're going to get output here that tells us what happened. So we'll see a status, and that status will either be S for success or E for error. And in this case, if we're creating some orders, if the orders that we create are successful, we'll see an order number that's generated and also an order total. So if our orders have tax, or if our orders are calculating the price, looking at customer discounts, those kind of things, I'll get that order total here, and I'll see the total dollar amount of that order. If there are any errors, they'll show up in the messages column here, and that gives me information that I can use to fix my order if I had an error. Everything that you enter here in API Wizard is processed through Oracle's public APIs. So all of the same validations that happen if you were entering this through the forms take place when you're entering this through API Wizard. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and click the execute button. It says you're about to process 12 rows in the EBS DB01 environment. Now, before I run this, I'll just point out that there's a couple of things that will happen here that you'll see. First of all, the colors of the data will change. If the record is processed successfully, all of the font will turn blue. If there's any errors, then the whole record will turn red. So you get a quick visual. Additionally, as I pointed out, the status column will be either S for success or E for error. And then also the Excel status bar, where we see right now the instance that we're connected to, that will provide information about our process. So it'll tell us what record is being processed, out of how many records to process, the percent complete, the estimated time remaining, and a tally of success and error records so far. In our case, we're only processing a few records, which we can see on the screen. But in real-world use, if you're processing hundreds or thousands of orders, you can tab away from Excel while it's processing, and you can come back and look at the status bar to see where you are. Okay, so let me go ahead and say yes here, and the process will start. And so it's running right now. As we can see, it's going to process all of this data one record at a time. It just processed the first order, and now process the second order. We can see here that it says that there were 2 records processed. So what's kind of neat is that in the beginning, it saw that there were 12 lines to process. But once it's looked at the data, it realizes that that was 2 orders. So it says here there were 2 orders processed, there were 2 successes, and there were no errors. At this point, I can either save my changes by hitting the commit button, or I can cancel them by hitting the rollback button. So if I hit commit right now, the orders are saved. They'll be in Oracle. I could log into Oracle and see them. If I hit rollback, this would all be canceled. These orders would not be created. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the commit button and save these orders. And boom, the orders are saved. Now, if I scroll all the way to the right, I can see the order numbers that were generated. So the first order generated the first process generated an order number 69682 for $68,999.52. And the second one created an order for order number 69683 for $8,029.84. So nice and easy. Okay, now, as you can see here, it's a really easy process, and no matter how many orders you have, you just fill out the data on the Excel sheet, you let it run, and it creates these orders for you. There really could not be an easier way to create your orders. There's other things that you can do here in the API Wizard order management loader. You can also update orders. So for instance, if we realize after we've created this order that we've made a mistake, or if there are other orders in the system that we need to modify, we can do that. Additionally, we can also run reports to see information about our order. So we're going to do both of those things. First, let me start off by looking at a report. You'll note that we're on a worksheet in our Excel book called Orders, and I've got some other tabs here. So I'm going to go to the Order Summary tab. That's the second worksheet. This is an open orders report, and it lets me run a report that will show me any orders between the criteria that I have up here. So I'm going to just run this by double-clicking on the title, and you'll see that it brought back 2 orders. So these are the 2 orders that I've just created, 69682 and 69683, and the dollar amounts that we just read from before, and the order total of 77,029 between the 2 orders. Now, these are entered in descending order. So the first order I entered is actually this one on row 12, 69682. It's the larger one for 68,000. If I want to see the line detail here, I can double click on the order in this order summary form, and it'll open up another report that'll show me the line detail. So I'm going to double click on the order. And you can see here now that it opens up a order details report. It's showing me all of the lines for order number 69682. And so I can see here some of the header information, the customer name, the order date, the order type, the PO number, so on and so forth. And then I get into the line information over here. So I can see the line number, the line type, the item number, the ordered item. And then if I scroll to the right here, I can get into some of the important stuff, like the list unit price. So you can see that we didn't put in the pricing information for all of the items. We let the system derive that. And you can see the price flag was set to calculate. And then here we've got a total line amount. And then if I scroll a little bit further to the right, we can see if there were any holds that were placed, we'd see those here, and so forth. So again, it gives me a nice, quick, easy way to look at my orders without having to go into Oracle. So I can do all that right here in Excel. There's more that I can do from a reporting standpoint, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Now, let's say that I wanted to make a change to an order. That's really easy to do too. So let's say that I want to change this first order here. So I'm going to just grab the order number, which was 69682. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to clear the data that we've got here. And so we're starting from now a fresh sheet. And let's say that I could have updated the order that was right there, but I want to show you that if you had an order to update, you can actually extract that order out of the system using API Wizard's integrated extraction report capability. So I'm going to click on the extraction report link. I'm going to choose the filter option, and then I'm going to pass the order number, which was 69682. I'm going to say run report, and it brings back the order for me. And so here I can see that this is order 69682. And all of the individual lines. Now, it repeats all of the header information. API Wizard doesn't care if you have the order information on just one line or if you repeat it for each line. It works equally well either way. So just to make this look prettier, I'm going to delete those other lines, and then let me just move this to the top position to make it clear what I'm doing. And then I'm going to just come down to here, and we're going to make changes to all of these lines here. So let's just see if I'm on the last line. I am, and I'm going to say end. So let's say that we are, the update that we want to make is that we got the quantity wrong. Oh, let me just also point out that you'll see that the order status came back as entered. I didn't actually enter that initially. So if you don't enter the order status, it comes as entered. But when you're creating an order, you have the choice of either entering it or booking it. And I could book it at this point. So, I've entered it. I can come back and book these orders now if I want through this process. So let's say that I'll do something simple. Let's just say that I want to change the quantity. So you can see I've got all these quantities here. Let's just make the first quantity 10 and then 11, and then I'll just pull it down and just sequentially change the quantity. So this will be an easy change for us to verify that we've made. So that's it. I'm just changing the quantity. I could change any of this information. Now, since it's an entered order, I can change any of the information. If it was a booked order, there's less that I can change. Okay, so let me go ahead and execute. You're about to process 9 rows in the EBS DBO environment. Do I want to continue? I'm going to say yes. And now you can see that the change is made, 1 record processed, 1 success, and no errors. So I'll go ahead and commit, and that saves the changes. All right, so now we'll come here to the order total. If you remember, I think the order total before was like 69,000, but now that we've increased the quantity for a lot of the lines, the order total is higher. In fact, I have my report open on the other sheet, and I can see the old order total was 68,999. Now the total is 114,000. Now, if I go back to my, well, let me first stop and say, well, gee, that's really easy, right? I mean, this is a really easy tool for working with your orders. You know that if you had to update a whole bunch of orders in Oracle, it's a huge pain. In API Wizard, it's really easy. And I showed you an extraction where I just entered a single order number and it brought back this one order. But I can run my extraction by entering a range of order numbers. I can do it by a range of dates, orders created for a particular date. I can do it by customer, so I could have all orders for a particular customer entered in the last 30 days with a status of whatever. I can do all of that. If I come back to my order summary here, and if I refresh it, I'm going to see this dollar amount change. So 68,999 will get updated. So I can just double click on the title of the report and it will update it. And now you can see the total is 114,000. And so that's my new order total. If I want to see the line detail now, I can double click on the order number. And now I can see the new line information, and the thing that we changed was the quantity. So you can see here now I've got my quantities going from 10 to 18, which is the update that I made. So again, real easy way to make my changes. One other thing I'll show you, which is kind of neat. Here I've got an order pivot. This shows me, this is part of the reporting. I'm going to just come in here and just bring back more orders. So let me just expand the criteria. You'll see that it just brings back some more orders here into the report. And now if I look at my order pivot, I can actually get a summary of my order information here. So I can see all of the orders that have been entered, within a given time period or what have you. I can see who the customer was, who the sales rep was, what the total was. So it gives me a lot of insight into my orders as well. We also have an order hold report, which will show me any orders that are on hold. I don't have any orders on hold at this point, so I won't run it, but you get the idea. API Wizard also gracefully handles errors. So if you've entered an error or some data that fails Oracle's validations, you'll get a status of E rather than S in the status column. The whole record will turn red, and you'll also get a warning at that execution summary telling you that one or more records errored. Now we didn't show an error yet, but I'll do that. So what we'll do is we'll make a change to something here. Let's go to the line level again. And let me just change an item number. So let's just take this MKT007007. That's a valid item. And let me just put in A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's definitely not a valid item. So we expect that row 4 to fail. Okay, so I'll go ahead and execute and say yes. And then what we'll see is when the order updates, all of the text is turned red. We know there's an error. It's very obvious. We can see here total records process 1, success is 0, error is 1. So we know we have an error. So now what we would do is we would go and check out what the issue was. And so you can see here that it tells me that item A, B, C, D, E, F, G not found. And so I know, and this error is on the line where the error happened. So you can see here that I'm on row 19. And so this line level error shows up on the line and it tells me the problem. So it tells me that the item is not found. So that would make it easy for me to fix. So I might come here to my list of values. Whoops, excuse me. And then I might put in my, let's say, my value here. Maybe I was looking for my MK and I can say query, and then it brings back all of the valid values here. So let's say that I really wanted this MK112233. I say okay, it returns that value to the sheet. So you see now it says MKT112233. And now I'll just re-execute. So I come back up here, about to process 9 rows, yes. And then this should process successfully. It does. 1 record process, 1 success. I say commit, save, and I'm done. It's a super efficient, super easy way to process your Oracle orders. There's no easier, better way to do it. Thank you for letting me show this to you. I hope that it proves to be helpful.